Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at Palossand in the Open Great League as well as LilyNiRiain. Those two Pokemon definitely going to be a little bit better this season as Noctowl is completely gone from the meta and the basic main core is usually something like MEWeedle plus Bastion or MEWeedle plus Carping. So this core basically gets broken by LilyNiRiain as well as the Palossand, which is really cool to see. We're going to pair it here right now with the Guzzlord. This is not most like the idea, but it's a little bit difficult to have a good pairing with this Pokemon because basically you're always going to be weak against something. Like if you want to have kind of an answer against some flying type Pokemon, which are still of course a little bit awkward for ground type Pokemon, you kind of could go for something like the Registeel, but then you're going to be weak against the Mud Boys, which is going to be a little bit awkward. Yeah, I decided to go for the Guzzlord mainly also because it's just a funny Pokemon. You can also go for Swidus if you want to try out this team and you don't have a Guzzlord. But basically for this team we're going to have our Palossand as a safe swap, where there are not as many hard answers for it anymore, especially not if you swap in your Bastion against it, which doesn't make any sense at all. But also we're going to have in the back here our LilyNiRiain, which actually has great IVs. I was able to trade a very decent one at a regional event, which was really nice. So we're going to have this in the back, which is really good in the two-shield scenario, as you're going to have Phantom on this Pokemon, which is going to allow the Pokemon to basically drop the opponent's defense. As well as you're going to have Shadow Claw, which is great for farming down Pokemon like this Altaria right now. And we're going to see an Azumarill in the back, which is a core breaker for this team usually, but we have a shield advantage, we have energy advantage, we still have two Pokemon left, we were able to hit the Shadow Ball, and I will be able to just go for the Phantom at this point of time, as the opponent even decides to shield this one up, which was not really ideal for them. I can swap into my Guzzlord here. Guzzlord will be able to take this Ice Beam and just go down there from that one, but we can just use a shield here, go for a Shadow Ball, win this game. Phantom is actually one of the moves that I really would like to see buffed for another season, like the upcoming season or whatever afterwards, because actually here we're going to encounter Noctowl, which is kind of funny, as we basically expected to see none of them, and that's why we run those two Pokemon, but at least you're going to see it here in the lead, and we can definitely deal with it now with our Guzzlord, which is going to be nice. But yeah, Phantom is currently, I think, doing 25 or 20 damage. Actually, I think it only does 20 damage or something for a 40 energy move. It's kind of wild, as you're always going to have Poison Fang, which does 45 damage and does have basically the same side effect of it. I wouldn't go as high as like the 45 damage from Poison Fang, but I would put it at like, I don't know, 35 damage or something instead, as you're going to have better fast move to go with the Phantom, as like here, Shadow Claw for example. I don't know what my opponent did here, by the way. They decided to go ahead and swap in their Lantern against our Palossand, which can of course go for Scorching Sands, and we will be able to trick the opponent maybe here by maybe shielding this Scorching Sands up, as we were able to get to two moves here right now, but no, they do not. Hitmontop comes back in here, we can go for another Scorching Sands, and as always, we're going to get no drop at all, because why would we? And we're going to let this triple Axel go through right now. This is going to be a little bit awkward for us, but we will be able to go into our LilyNiRiain right now, which will take the first triple Axel here. Does a ton of damage, but I'd rather take the first one because they're only +1 in their attack stat. Now they're +2, so it's going to be a little bit easier now for them to knock me out if they wanted to. But like this, I will be able to go ahead and go for a Shadow Ball and knock them out and win this game. Let's take a look at the next opponent. We're going to have the Guzzlord against the Fabianarmani. It's amazing for us, as we're going to see that the opponent swaps out into a Drapion. I most likely should have swapped immediately into my Scorching Sand user there of the Palossand, as we're going to have super effective damage with both the Scorching Sands as well as the fast move Mudshot. But I swapped in very late, and they're going to now have to go for the Crunch, which is a little bit awkward for us. But I figured that I'm most likely going to be fine with my Guzzlord in the back, because who has two answers for Guzzlord in the back? Like, this is definitely not going to be the case. So we're going to be able to just farm them all the way down, but they're still going to get to another move here, which is going to be another Crunch. They just generate energy so fast. And they have basically one of the worst possible Pokemon in the back here with the Poliwrath. We basically do no damage against them, and we're also locked into the matchup. And we're also going to have to take an Ice Punch here right now, and honestly, if I played this better, I most likely would have been able to win this game, but I literally just completely screwed up this game for myself here, so that's definitely me to blame. But at least you're going to be able to get a shield here against basically the best friend of the LilyNiRiain, the Fabianarmani, which is kind of funny to have like the regional forms fighting it off against each other. But I will be able to go for another Phantom. They can let this move go through, and yeah, there is no point of me really playing this one out, but I'm still going to give the opponent the satisfaction of knocking out my Guzzlord, so we can move on into the next game right now. Let's take a look look at the next opponent, we're going to see a Greninja in the lead. Amazing lead for us. Like, we're going to be able to resist everything from the Greninja unless they start running now Aerial Ace, which I do not expect any Greninja ever to use right now. It's still just so much worse than the Night Slash coverage, so yeah, like there's no reason for any Greninja to run this move. But we're going to be able to knock them out here, and we're going to get out the Cresselia, as we can go ahead and go for a Shadow Ball later on with our Palossand. We're going to let this move go through because Palossand is not the Pokemon we want to protect. We want to protect our LilyNiRiain in the back, as we can debuff the opponent's defense with this Pokemon. LilyNiRiain will appreciate those shields a little bit more. I don't know how I didn't get to the Shadow Ball there. I really felt like I should have got there in time, but sadly I didn't. And I'm going to use a shield here against the opponent's Trevenant, as I'm gonna go for the bait here because I feel like no matter what they're going to do, it's totally fine for me. I hope that they shield, but they did actually shield, which is even better for us, so definitely right decision to go for the bait. I should be able to survive any charge move from the opponent, a Seed Bomb for sure. I guess Shadow Ball actually would have been close to surviving this one. I might have not been able to do this, but here I will be able to go into my LilyNiRiain. Don't get the farm down, but going to be able to use a shield against the opponent, and the Seed Bomb is not going to go through anywhere here, and we're going to just go ahead, go for a Shadow Ball, knock out the Cresselia. And honestly, LilyNiRiain, I'm most likely going to make another video for this Pokemon as soon as Great League comes back for the second time, because right now we're going to, of course, try out all the new Pokemon. Tomorrow, we're going to have also all the Paldean Pokemon, which I'm really excited to grind out as soon as they're going to drop into Pokemon Go. Also, we're going to have a 4-time Stardust event. I made already a video about the Paldean event, which is coming up starting tomorrow, so definitely check that one on my channel. But there are a lot of cool Pokemon to definitely take a look at and try to get for the future mainly. But yeah, we're going to take a look definitely at some Paldean Pokemon tomorrow. So as soon as Great League comes back eventually this season, I'm mostly going to start doing some try-hard meta-breaking teams. While right now, of course, I'm trying to try out some new Pokemon like the Scorching Sand variant of Palossand. Yes, this team is not perfectly ideal, but at least we can try this Pokemon out here right now. I'm most likely going to do some try-hard teams, and definitely the LilyNiRiain would be in one of them, because this Pokemon is just so strong in the current meta. Breaking Cresselia, breaking the Medicham, breaking the Registeel, breaking the Carbink, literally destroying most of the meta right now. And Palossand does similar, but not as great in my opinion, so yeah, here we're going to now have actually the Steelix against us, which can be a little bit tricky, as the opponent going to have the Breaking Swipe, of course, as a move. But here I go just straight for the Sand Tomb, allowing me to get the drop onto the opponent's defense, as well as I'm going to do some damage before they can debuff me. But they decide to not even debuff me. They're just going to go ahead and go for the Earthquake here, as I will be able to reach another Sand Tomb in time. This is going to do some super effective damage and allowing us to farm them all the way down. As they go back into their Lantern, they have to get hit by another Sand Tomb here right now, which is going to get the finishing blow there onto the opponent. And we can move on into the next game. We're going to have a Bastion in the lead. Horrible for us. We're going to swap out immediately into our Palossand, which will be able to do some decent damage usually, but we will see now the opponent going to have another Grass type in the back. It's going to be the Tropius, and Tropius can take 2 Shadow Balls, sadly, so they're most likely going to no-shield this one as well, and this puts us in a very bad spot here right now, sadly. But I will be able to at least go ahead and go into my Guzzlord, which will be able to take a move here for sure. Let's see what they're going to go for. They're going to go for the Leaf Blade. That's fine for us, and we can swap out immediately. Let's see what they're going to have in the back. Hopefully, they're going to be weak to our LilyNiRiain in the back. They're staying in here, and I'm going to let the first move go through, as they go for the wrong charge move. They go for the Stone Edge. This is not ideal. You want to go for the Flamethrower here, usually, but they decide to not do this, and we're going to see the Sand Tomb coming through. Gonna get the defense drop onto the opponent, and we will see right now that they're going to get fairly low here from our LilyNiRiain. I'm going to use a shield here just so we're going to be a little bit healthier, as we see the final Pokemon going to be the Medicham. I told you this is a core breaker, and LilyNiRiain is going to be able to go for the Sand Tomb, get the shield bait done here correctly, use a shield against the opponent, which is going to be fine. It's going to be the Ice Punch here right now. I go for another Sand Tomb, trying to get another shield from the opponent, and now I kind of want to try to swap out onto the Ice Punch into my Pokemon in the back, which is going to be the Guzzlord, but we reach the Dragon Claw in time. Double debuff from the opponent. That's going to get the knockout, and Bastion does not know where it wants to go, and this is going to be an easy victory here, as we can move on into the next game right now. Swampert lead, very good for us as we face it here right now, because our backline definitely does not want to face this Pokemon. We can go for a Dragon Claw. Hopefully this goes through. And we will see that this move is going to do some decent damage, and also going to put the opponent basically into a range where we can farm them down. But in comes next going to be the Mandibuzz, another complete hard counter for our backline basically. And this was basically, by the way, the first game that I played with this team, which I was like, cool, thanks, I'm gonna get the one answer that I haven't seen all day, which was like Swampert for my backline, and immediately afterwards coming in going to be the Mandibuzz, which is of course not ideal, but this team in general, or like this core between Mandibuzz as well as the Swampert is a very strong one though, so like I do understand why people are running this. You might wonder why I swapped here into my RuneRigas. I also wonder this sometimes, so that's definitely not the play to go for, but I just tried to get rid of the Mandibuzz without losing too much health on my on my Gastrodon there, because I need the Gastrodon still for the Swampert. But let's see what they're going to have in the back, as we can still go at least for one charge move here against the opponent Swampert, forcing a shield with a Sand Tomb as they want to keep their energy. I will be able to go ahead and go into my Palossand and try to go for a farm down, as Palossand has Scorching Sands. We're most likely going to be able to get some drops onto your opponent's attack here, hopefully, as Scorching Sands come through. We haven't seen, I think, a drop the entire game so far, and no, we're gonna get the shield, but we're not gonna get a drop. I tried to swap in time, but I didn't do it correctly there. I think the opponent also waited one turn, so they did it correctly there and played it well. But we will be able to still reach what's called Brutal Swing here right now. Is it enough to knock them out? It just barely missed it out on the knockout here. I think if we had Crunch, we would have been able to win this game, because I think that's the extra damage that Crunch would have done over Brutal Swing. But it's going to be alright. This was kind of an unfortunate one, to be fair. Like, if we got the debuff there, maybe we would have been in a better place. But now we're going to battle up against the Victory Bell here. They're going to have to use a shield here, because a Shadow Ball would knock them out. And like this, we're going to be able to farm them down a little bit easier with our Gastrodon, which is going to be very nice. So, let's see. We're going to see the Gastrodon coming in. We're going to let this move go through. Let's see what it's going to be. Most likely the Leaf Blade. This is going to do some decent damage, but not too much, not too scary. As we see the Steelix coming back in, we're going to use a a Brutal Swing against the opponent here, as we can swap out into our Palossand, as they're going to go for the the Brutal Swing, the Breaking Swipe here. Breaking Swipe is definitely the move we go for, as we see now the Scorching Sands coming through against the opponent's Digger Speed. This is going to be an interesting matchup, I hope, just for the attack drop onto the opponent. So far, of course, you know my chances are always going to basically never get the drop at all, but this might be the one. Is this the one where we finally get the drop in this video? We do. This is the first drop after, I think, like 7 or 8 Scorching Sands today, so that's great. Definitely the 30% chance coming in here, but at least we also not get anything against us. But sadly, they just reached the Scorching Sands a little bit faster than I thought. I also lagged a little bit there before the opponent got there, which kind of is always the thing that kind of annoys me right now. I still have those frame drops the entire time on Android, which is really annoying, but yeah, it's okay. I'm not really playing competitively anyway right now, so I don't really have to care too much about it. But still, like, losing a lot of games still to like frame drops, to not being able to catch because of this and stuff like this is kind of annoying. But yeah, hopefully someday it's going to be fixed, but I don't really think so. We're going to have a very bad lead and also a very bad say-swap for us. It's going to be the Palossand now against the Ninetales, and of course we're not going to get the attack drop, which would have been so beneficial for us if we got the attack drop here, because we would have been able to survive this even easier and would have got to another charge move. But 30% chance, of course, is for me like a 10% chance in this video. But let's see, we're going to have to shield up now the Weather Ball from the opponent, and we can go for another Sand Tomb here right now. Honestly, if I just got the debuff there, I feel like I would have been so much better off. As I even get to another charge move, I'm forced to shield this one up as well. And this final game is not really going to plan here, as we will see the final Pokemon of the opponent going to be the Gligar. My only play here is to try to catch a move, which did work out well, but honestly, like, I don't have to tell you that this is going to be basically impossible to win. We're getting completely hardwalled here right now. We have, of course, the glaring Ice-type weakness for this team, which is not ideal, but it's a little bit difficult to build a well-balanced team with the RuneRigas if you have also the Palossand on the same team, of course, so that's a little bit of an issue, but still, definitely an interesting Pokemon. I'm definitely going to take a look at RuneRigas eventually again this season, because this Pokemon definitely is a good core breaker in the current meta. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like, or watch the videos that you see on the screen right now, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.